count this out?
You got, honey. I will indeed. I will indeed. You know that.
Okay. All right. So hi, my cool friends, and welcome to my channel of Haunted History, where I share history of how and why these locations are haunted right to your living room or wherever you're perched. My name is Amanda Kay. I'm a formal paranormal investigator, and I have investigated many locations throughout Illinois and North Carolina. You can say you can take the paranormal or the girl out of the paranormal, but you can't take the paranormal out of the girl. And I want to tell you about America's haunted places. A lot of America is covered in vast forests and so many beautiful national parks that bring gorgeous past and wonder right to our backyards. And this is where our first haunted hotspot takes place. The year is 1846. And the Donner Party is about to embark on a journey of a lifetime, or so it would seem. The Donner Party consists of George Donner, his wife Tasman, and their 3 daughters, Frances, Georgie, and Eliza. But you will only end up hearing about 2 of them because the third one, they don't know what happened. I'm pretty sure she passed away on the trail somewhere, but they don't mention her, only the other 2. And then George's younger brother joined. His younger brother, Jacob, his wife, Elizabeth, and 9 children were part of the party, along with 6 adult Teamsters. All together, which brought a total of 87 members that were part of this Donner Party. And then other people joined on the trail. At the onset, there were 500 wagons headed west from Independence, Missouri, with the goal to reach California, where they would be free to live in a culture, or to live in a fully Catholic culture. The Donner Party started its trip dangerously late, the season to be traveling so far west. The American pioneers needed to head west late enough in the spring for there to be grass available for their pack animals and livestock, but also early enough so they could cross the treacherous western mountain terrain and desert before winter. Yet, for reasons unknown, the core of what became the Donner Party, they didn't leave their jumping off point at Independence, Missouri until May 12th. They were the last pioneer train to leave that year. One pioneer wrote, "I am beginning to feel ashamed at the tardiness of our movements and fearful that winter will find us in the snowy mountains of California." So obviously the late departure was a concern for some, or maybe a premonition. Let me know in the comments below if you would have gone with them, because honestly, I don't think I would have. I think I would have waited winter out right there in Missouri, because I'm a big baby and I hate winter. And I would have the fear of being stranded, especially somewhere I wasn't familiar with. I would be looking forward to travel and adventure, but not the time that they left. But that's just me, though. The party did leave, and there was a map floating around the campsites about Hastings Cutoff, but it was a very dishonest guidebook. It was written by Lanford Hastings, and he was promoting a straight and a supposed quicker path that would cut through the Wasatch Mountains and across the Salt Lake Desert. But there was just one problem. No one has ever traveled Hastings Cutoffs, not even Hastings himself, not even other wagon trains. But despite the warning from James Kleinman, now James Kleinman, he was an experienced mountain man, and I don't know how he was warning people, but I could see him on a mountain cliff yelling, "Don't take Hastings Cutoff," and then he would disappear behind like a rock or something, and then like wait like a couple more minutes and then come back out yelling more warnings. But I don't know, that's just my assumption as how I see how he was warning people. But anyways, 20 wagons and 87 people elected themselves to break away from the unusual route and gamble on Hastings cutoff. But this decision would prove to be disastrous. So during the 5 days of the Salt Desert crossing, they were nearly dying of thirst. And rather than saving time, Hastings' shortcut ended up adding nearly a month to the Donner Party's journey. Most of the party still managed to reach the slopes of Sierra Nevada by early November of 1846, but before the pioneers had a chance to drive their wagons through the mountains, an early blizzard hit. The Sierras with drifts to 10 to 15 feet of snow and ice. It was nearly impossible to travel. Now, mountain passes that were already hard to navigate soon transformed into icy paths that would force the Donner Party to retreat to nearby Truckee Lake, where they would hopefully wait out the winter in ramshackle tents. Much of the group's supplies and livestock had already been lost, but it wouldn't be long before the travelers began to perish from starvation. And hunting was impossible. They already butchered their livestock, and tempers were short as food was rationed and fought over. In desperation, men and women boiled shoes and shoelaces to make soups. But soon came the day there was nothing left to eat. And this just breaks my heart, being in unfamiliar territory. You're losing everything, seeing your loved ones getting sick, freezing, dying, and there's nothing you could do. I could imagine that hopelessness of those feelings that they had been going through. But be warned, because here comes the gruesome part. To survive, some members resorted to cannibalism of the dead. When the missing party failed to arrive, a rescue party was formed, but unable to reach the Donner Party until February. Now remember, that's almost 3 months. The rescue continued through March and April. Union Army General Stephen Kearny had the grim task of cleaning the Donner Party debris, and he and his men gathered up all the remnants which they could find, which would have included human bones, human tissue, and probably a lot of other gross items. The general and his men placed all the things they found in those hastily built shacks and set the whole thing ablaze. And this disastrous trip ended up taking the lives of 42 people. And the site remains haunted with events that led up to this scene. Visitors claim to have felt the presence of Tasman Donner, who stayed behind to be with her injured and ailing husband, who ended up passing away, and her 2 daughters were rescued, but Tasman herself was never found. Could she be the one that people reported seeing today? One time a skier got lost while skiing, and a woman approached him. She was dressed in old-fashioned clothes and led him to a camp where several people were. He then found a trail he needed, but when he went back to thank the woman, there was no trace of her or the campsite. Nothing at all to indicate people were there just moments ago. And could this be the work of Tasman Donner? Also, guests have seen a yellowish figure floating above the ground, and there has been strange and intense odors of what smell like campsite fire. And people get very emotional in certain areas of the park where they just cry and feel a sense of hopelessness. And visitors are welcome year-round to visit the famous Pioneer Monument. It's 22 feet tall, and people have reported having their clothes tugged at this site and getting ghostly images and pictures. And there's sight of the cabins where the Donner Party wintered. And there are locations within the Donner Party Memorial State Park. There are the sites of the Murphy Cabin, the Breen Kesby Cabin, and a mile east of the site, there's the Reed Graves Cabin. A large rock sits quietly where the Murphy Cabin was located. And the rock was part of the back wall of the cabin, but you can still visit the Immigrant Museum in Truckee, where they have several Donner Party relics. And there was a movie made in 2009 you guessed it, called the Donner Party. And if you've ever been in this location, please leave comments below and I will interact with my audience as much as I can. If you like this video, share if you think it's worth sharing, and subscribe or follow if you want to hear more. And hopefully I will see you guys again on the next Haunted History Tour. Bye.
Yeah, see ya, guys.